Hey guys, this is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Welcome back to our next video. And today's video, the topic is bioidentical hormones versus synthetic hormones, the truth. And I think this book is more or less for information purposes. And there's actually two basic reasons why I wrote this book. There seems to be a confusion when it comes to bioidentical hormone therapy uh, being compared to synthetic hormones, and that is completely wrong. And so I'm here to explain, and this book is here to actually show you there's a huge difference in the two. One is safe and one is not. Now, what gives me the authority to talk about this is because my wife and I both are very well educated in men and women hormones. We both have gone through metabolic hormonal damage, and we've had to we've worked very, very close with a bioidentical hormone specialist who specializes in men and women's hormones and how to balance them out with doing it the natural way, not just by naturally doing the therapy, but also by changing the types of foods you're eating, the time you eat, and how often you eat to help to balance your own hormones, and how to help heal or utilize the mechanisms that your body already has to develop hormones. And so we've been working with this doctor for quite a few years now. And actually, she was an MD. She practiced family medicine for years and then switched over to being a homeopathic doctor because she saw how bad medication reacts to the body. So the big issue is that people, not only health professionals, but a lot of the public is giving false information on bioidentical hormones because they really don't have the experience to look in the right areas for actual clinical case studies showing the benefits of bioidentical hormone therapy versus synthetic hormones, which the synthetic hormones are going to really cause some major medical issues if you keep using them over a long period of time. And the ones I'm talking about mainly are the growth hormone injections, the testosterone synthetic injections, the oral testosterones, the over-the-counter HGH supplements they have, and also the over-the-counter fat burners they have. All these synthetic types of inducing hormones will eventually cause your own mechanisms, your own body's mechanism actually stop producing their own hormones. And what then happens is it could be non-reversible if you don't catch it in time. But the bioidentical hormone therapy, if you look at science, and in this book, I'll go over it with you just briefly, but in the book, I actually show you some science behind it. This is the book cover, guys, and you see that I have a person in here. Now, this is my wife. She'll be 67 in January. And you can tell that she's in great shape. She's got muscle tone and all that good stuff. But I put this on here because I wanted to use somebody that actually went through the therapy because of metabolic damage. And that I wanted to let people know that there is a time when someone will actually have to go to a bioidentical hormone specialist. Now, in the book, I'm going to explain, I do explain the difference between a bioidentical hormone specialist and your own in-home or family doctor or provider or whatever. But as a disclaimer, I am not a doctor. The information I provide is based on my personal experience, scientific studies, and my experience as a personal health coach for over 40 years. The information provided is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeing it because of something you have read or this website or on this website. Never rely on the information on this website in place of seeking a professional medical doctor. So that's my disclaimer. But now let's talk about the difference real quick in what the difference is. Your bioidentical hormone specialists, they specialize in hormones, men and women. That's what they do. They look for the root cause of why the hormones are so imbalanced, or why you're feeling so bad, why you have hot flashes, why you've lost your energy. Just many other factors that are caused by imbalanced hormones. The biggest one right now that I'm seeing, guys, is how hard it is for women to lose weight, and they're doing everything right. Now, I'm even talking about my own clients. I have a program that we've developed that is actually backed by science. It has actually been used for thousands of years, and we are seeing some phenomenal results from people who go on a high-fat, good dietary, low-carb meal plan, and when they combine it with intermittent fasting. And a lot of health professionals, athletes, and doctors, especially doctors that are dealing with type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, obesity, now even cancer, doctors are seeing some great results to help starve cancer, because they've realized now that cancer cannot live off of high fat or no calories. What they're doing is they're actually showing research of cancer cells being starved. But the thing is that sometimes you're doing everything right and the weight just is not coming off. And so if you go to a bioidentical hormone specialist who specializes in the hormones, they will have you do a complete hormone panel. Now, most of the time, the family doctors will only do specific readings. And a bioidentical hormone specialist will do all the readings that you need. And the ones that really need to be looked at is your progesterone for women, testosterone for men and women, your estrogen for men and women, vitamin D, vitamin B12, your glucose level when fasting before you do a blood test. And there's other factors involved that a bioidentical hormone specialist wants to see. Your family doctor or your provider most likely will not order these type of blood tests. And so what happens is, this is my own personal experience on a family doctor reading my blood test, and not from just me alone, but from many other people out there, is that your family doctor or your providing doctor or whoever you're going to will tell you that, I'll give you an example. For me, when I had my first blood test done, I think I was 62 years old, 63, and my testosterone level was down to 286. And the doctor told me that for my age, that level was normal. And I already knew, with all the research and what I've learned so far, that that's not true. Why in the world would I want to have a testosterone level that low that could possibly cause me to have prostate cancer, because it is low? And then also my estrogen level was high. Those two have something in common. that if your testosterone level is low and your estrogen levels are high for a long period of time, you're a good candidate for prostate cancer. But besides, why in the world would I want to have a testosterone level of a 62-year-old? And that's exactly what my bioidentical hormone doctor told me when I gave her the reading. She says, Bill, she says, why in the world would you want a old man's testosterone level when you can actually have a younger man's testosterone level just by doing a few months of bioidentical hormone therapy, because your levels, because of your metabolic damage and because of your past history of competing and all the supplements and all the enhancers of HGH and all that, your mechanism is pretty well tanked out. And Emily and my wife was the exact same way. She was a lot worse than I was. And she says, all we're going to do is use a vegetable inducing therapy that's going to help your own body's mechanism to start to work together. See, that's the difference, guys. The difference is we are not replacing our own production of hormones by doing bioidentical hormones. What we are doing is we're just going to help the mechanisms that our own body has to produce its own hormones over time. Where synthetic hormones, the issue is with that is that it's chemically based and is not like the hormones that are being produced naturally by our own mechanism, and the body knows that. And so what happens, guys, in long term is your own mechanisms will eventually either shut down or shut off. Because why? Well, you're not using it because you're taking synthetic hormones, replacing the hormones that your body is naturally producing. So the body just says, well, why do I need to even have the mechanism if all I have to do, if all you're doing is just giving me some synthetic hormones? But you are going to, there are many medical side effects that you will get from doing long-term growth hormones or long-term injections of testosterone or so forth. Just know that will happen. But anyway, so as we go through this, here's a good one. A large body of evidence shows that bioidentical hormone therapy is safer and more effective than synthetic hormone replacement. What they are, guys, they're little pellets, and they look like a Tic Tac. And what they do a really tiny incision just in the hip area, and these pellets are put right under the skin. Now, bioidentical hormones are plant-based; they're not chemically based, and they come from yams, and they come from cactus. That's where they come from. And so, by putting the pellets in your hip, your body is only going to utilize what it needs. And so it's going to keep your hormones fluctuated at an even level. Whereas synthetic induced, chemically induced hormones like testosterone and growth hormones will actually cause you to go up and down. And that's why so many people are seeing what they call roid rages, or why they're seeing their energy levels go up and down, and even their mood swings are going up and down. And over time, that's exactly the main complaint people have when they're doing synthetic chemically induced hormones, is their mood swings are so up and down. Okay? So there are plenty of case studies. Now, these are actual clinical research studies, and they didn't come from Google. They came from different scientific journal sites. And so what I did is I put these in there. For example, published in the Journal of Postgraduate of Medicine. Are bioidentical hormones safer or more effective than commonly used synthetic versions? And the answer to that is yes. Physiological data and clinical outcomes demonstrate that biological hormones are associated with lower risk, including risks of breast cancer and cardiovascular diseases, and are more efficiently than their synthetic and animal-derived counterparts. Now, what that means is that by using the synthetic chemically induced hormones, you have a better chance of developing some kind of a underlying disease, basically. Also, the published in the medical journal site of Springerlink, they basically said the same thing. This was an observation study of women between the age of 18 and 89 who received a compound bioidentical hormone therapy product. This therapy went from 2003 to 2010. Basically, this is the conclusion. This study demonstrates the compound bioidentical hormones improves mood symptoms, decreases emotional liability, decreases irritability, a decrease in anxiety, all within 3 to 6 months. So that's just another research site showing the benefits. International Journal of Pharmaceutical Compounding. Basically, they say the exact same thing. In the book, when you guys get it, you can read it. There's a section there on how pellets work. So go over that. It will tell you exactly what I just said also. Now, the whole idea, guys, of bioidentical hormone bioidentical hormone therapy is it is not going to basically give you the component to help you build actual lean muscle mass like some people think it will do. No, there's other factors involved because it's a natural plant-based product that the body, that it's in this book you'll see that the research says the bioidentical hormones are identically the same as your own hormones you produce, and that's why the body is able to utilize it in a safe amount of time in a pellet form whenever needed. It recognizes it as like its own hormones. But the whole object of the bioidentical hormones is not to add lean muscle. No, the whole object of it is to help your mechanism that produces its own hormones to help to rebuild muscle damage after a hard exercising routine. The hormone that is designed to most likely build your lean muscle is your own growth hormones. Bioidentical hormones do not activate your growth hormones. The only way to elevate growth hormones throughout the day is with the type of foods you eat and intermittent fasting and extended fasting. That's how you develop lean muscle mass, even if you're a senior. Eventually, after being on bioidentical hormones, you're going to eventually be able to get off of them. And each month, I do a blood test. We both do blood tests every 6 months to see how we are. I've been very consistent with my testosterone levels for the last almost a year now. And so my body is producing testosterone and growth hormones and other muscle building hormones on its own with its own mechanisms because of my lifestyle on the types of food I'm eating and the intermittent fasting and extended fasting I'm doing. Our doctor even mentioned to me that that's exactly what's going on now. So those of you that actually had to get a boost in your mechanisms to produce your own hormones through bioidentical hormone therapy, over the course of your therapy, you're going to be able to get off slowly the bioidentical hormone therapy, because your body will then start producing its own hormones. Where it's the reverse when you're doing synthetic injection growth hormones and testosterone. You will never be able to get off of those injections, because eventually you're going to dry up the mechanism that produces its own therapy. And that's what research is saying. And that's why research is saying bioidentical hormones are much more safer, because they're plant-based and they're identical to the hormones your body naturally produces, so your body recognizes it as being good. And why I wanted to write this book, to clarify some of the misleading information about bioidentical hormones, mainly being said that they're used to build lean muscle, and that's not true, because you're not producing growth hormones. That's what's going to help build your lean muscle, and the other muscle building hormones that are also falls into place. When your growth hormones are up and your hormones are balanced, then the other growth hormones will be balanced also, and there's no age limit into adding lean muscle. So if you're on a good strength training routine, then you are going to add lean muscle at any age, and you're going to also lose that belly fat or body fat as you go. Now, depending on how tanked your hormones are going to depend on how quickly you get your hormones balanced. And then, like I said, the only time I recommend somebody going to now I got to rephrase that. On my online coaching, on my online personal coaching courses and packages, I recommend everybody go do a blood test and go do a complete hormone panel test, and then find yourself a good bioidentical hormone specialist in town to do a consultation on that blood test. Now, the sad thing is, I've worked with hundreds of different women and men all over the world, and I've asked them to go do blood tests, and I've had some women, not very many, that actually I told them, okay, your hormones, we are not getting the glucose readings and the ketone readings I want to see, even though they're doing my course. So there's something else there. There's a root cause blocking their fat burning. So that's when I would recommend, okay, you need to locate a bioidentical hormone specialist in your area. And the sad thing is, there are very few. Not all bioidentical hormone specialists are the same. Now, we have one here in the Temecula, Marietta Valley that you can call and get a consultation over the phone. It's going to cost you money, but it's well worth it, because we've been working with her for quite a few years. And actually, I recommend all my clients that actually need to see a bioidentical hormone specialist to see her, because she's the one that fixed my wife. And so we've learned just a ton of stuff from her, and we work together with her a lot. And so that's the issue, is actually finding one that knows what they're doing. Now, there's a lot of them out there, and they say they know what they're doing, but they're not, and that's what's sad. So hopefully this book that I wrote will help clarify how to find a good one and what questions you need to ask them, and to see and that's the hard part, because you're dealing with a professional who you're relying on honest information. And my experience so far on some of these bioidentical hormone specialists, they're not really into it to help your hormones. They're really into it more for the money, because that's the big trend now, is people want to balance their hormones without taking any kind of synthetic chemical or injections. They want to do it with naturally, and they research bioidentical hormones in the proper place and realize that's the route they want to go. Okay, so guys, this book is basically for those of you that this is This will be available for those of you that are signed up to do my online personal coaching packages, or you're signed up to do one of my courses. You will get, this book is included in there just for your information in case you or maybe someone you know might need to go to a bioidentical hormone specialist. And don't be afraid to say you need to, because hormones run your whole body and you need to balance them out. So, okay guys, so I hope you saw some value in this, and look into my, like I said, enjoy your journey into your fat loss journey, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys on how well you're doing. You guys have a great day. Bye.